Good morning to all. In today's class, we will discuss method overriding. So this concept is there in inheritance. Without inheritance, we can't explain method overriding concept. So last class we have discussed types of inheritance. There are single level inheritance, multi-level inheritance and hybrid inheritance. Once you understand the concepts of all these types of inheritances, we can easily understand method overriding concept. Already explained polymorphism. Okay, in polymorphism we have two types. They are compile time polymorphism and runtime polymorphism. Okay, method overloading comes under, or not method overloading, method overloading and constructor overloading. These two concepts come under compile time polymorphism. Next, what is runtime polymorphism? So method overriding comes under runtime polymorphism. Already explained the programs on method overloading and constructor overloading. That is, both are compile time, both come under compile time polymorphism. Okay. Now coming to method overriding, it comes under runtime polymorphism. Runtime polymorphism means if the polymorphism occurs during the runtime, then that is called runtime polymorphism. Compile time polymorphism means if the polymorphism occurs during the compile time, then it is called compile time polymorphism. Okay. Now overloading comes under compile time polymorphism and overriding comes under runtime polymorphism. But in case of overloading, we have two concepts, that is method overloading and constructor overloading. But in case of overriding, we have only one concept, that is method overriding. Okay. So coming to method overriding. Okay. So how do we explain the concept method overriding is with respect to inheritance. But if you take overloading concept, for overloading concept, inheritance is not required. With a single class also, we can explain overloading concept. But overriding concept, we have to explain with at least two classes. That is, when we take two classes, in case of inheritance only, we will take two classes, that is superclass and subclass. Okay. So to explain method overriding concept, we need to take two classes, that is superclass and subclass. That's why we can explain in concept. We can explain this concept in case of inheritance. Now already you know inheritance concepts now. Now in this class we will complete method overriding. This is also very important for exam point of view. Okay, explain constructor overloading with example. Next, explain method overloading with example. Like that, explain method overriding with example. Or explain runtime polymorphism with example. Means this is the program we have to explain. Means to explain the runtime polymorphism, we need to explain method overriding. So method overriding, okay, is a concept which comes under runtime polymorphism. So explain runtime polymorphism means we have to explain method overriding only. Okay. Now I will explain this concept. Now here assume that we have two classes, superclass and subclass. Okay. Now what is method overriding is if both superclass and subclass are having the same method with the same prototype. It is not super, it is proto. Okay. Yeah, again I will repeat this statement. If both superclass and subclass are having the same method with the same prototype, I will explain what is prototype or what is the meaning of prototype. So if superclass and subclass both are having the same method with the same prototype, then subclass method will override the superclass method, or superclass method is overridden by the subclass method. Here it is override, RIDE. So subclass method will override the superclass method, or superclass method is overridden, RIDDEN. So superclass method is overridden by the subclass method. Now here I will explain what is this prototype. Prototype means if you take two functions, the parameters, the parameters and return type of the two methods must be same. That is nothing but prototype. Okay, prototype means if you take sum, and I will explain here in the with examples. Okay, now leave this one. Prototype means you remember like this, both the parameters means the data types of the parameters and the return type of two functions are same. Means we can say this is in this case we can say both superclass and subclass are having the same method with same prototype. Same prototype means in both the methods, that is in superclass method and subclass method, we are having the same number of parameters with the same data types, and also the return types must also be same. Then in that case we can say superclass and subclass are having the same method with the same prototype. Again I will explain this concept with examples. Okay, next, this is one concept. First I will explain this one. Examples for method overriding. These are the examples for method overriding. What is method overriding? If both superclass and subclass are having the same method with the same method, same method means with the same method name with the same prototype. Means prototype means here if you see this M1 is a method in the superclass. This M1 is a method in the subclass. Now we will compare these two. So method name is same, and here how many parameters it is taking? 2 parameters. This M1 is a method in the superclass, means superclass method M1. Now if you take the subclass method M1, it is also taking 2 parameters, and here 2, here also 2. And you have to check the data types also. Here the data types of these 2 parameters are int. If you see in this method also int and int. And again you have to check the return type also. The return type of the superclass method is void, and the return type of the subclass method is also void. Prototype means this one. Okay, same number of parameters and the same type, and return type must also be the same. Okay, so it is nothing but prototype. So here this M1 is called superclass method, and this M1 is called subclass method. So here what is method overriding? If both superclass and subclass are having the same method with the same prototype, then the subclass method will override the superclass method. This is the concept of method overriding. So subclass method will override the superclass method, or the other way is superclass method is overridden by the subclass method. Okay, you can say subclass method will override the superclass, or superclass method is overridden by the subclass method. So this concept is nothing but method overriding. First try to understand the concept with examples. Next I will show one more example on method overriding. So this is a method on superclass, this is a method on subclass. Here if you observe, method name is M1 in both the classes, and it is taking 2 parameters, it is also taking 2 parameters, and if you take the types of these 2 parameters, here int float. If you see the types of these 2 parameters, they are also int float. And check the return type also. Return type must also be same for these 2 methods, remember. So here it is int, here also it is int. So in this case, we can say this subclass method will override the superclass method. Suppose if you take here, in place of here you take int and float, in subclass method, suppose if you take this as float, this as int, means here prototypes of these 2 functions are not same. In that case, then in that case, it does not come under method overriding. If you take int float here, and if you take float int here, then this is not under method overriding. Method overriding means with the same method name, and the number of parameters must be same, and the order of parameters and the type of parameters must also be same. Here int float means here it should be int float only. If you change the order also, this concept does not come under method overriding. Okay, and the return type must also be same. If it here it is void, if it is int means, and then in this concept does not come under method overriding. Now try to understand the concept of method overriding. Now again I will repeat the definition. If for method overriding, if both superclass and subclass are having the same method with the same prototype, then subclass method will override the superclass method, or superclass method is overridden by the subclass method. This is the definition of method overriding. We will write one program using this method overriding concept. Next, here I will explain one more concept in inheritance with respect to super and subclasses. Instance variable hiding. Here with respect to methods, I have explained now method overriding. Now with respect to variables, I will explain the concept of instance variable hiding. So what is this concept? Again, this is also in inheritance it is possible. So what is instance variable hiding is, if both superclass and subclass are having the same instance variable. Same instance variable means with the same name. Okay, instance variable names are same. Instance variable names are same in both superclass and subclass. So if both superclass and subclass are having the same instance variable, means instance variable with the same name, then subclass instance variable will hide the superclass instance variable. So this concept is called instance variable hiding. If both superclass and subclass are having the same instance variable with the same name, then subclass instance variable will hide the superclass instance variable. Now I will explain this concept in program. Okay, always whenever you take subclass object, always subclass will give this. You note down this statement. Always subclass will give priority to its own members. Okay, if they are not there in its own class, then only it will inherit from its superclass. Here we are explaining the inheritance with respect to superclass and subclass now. So here subclass can access the members of both superclass and its own class members now. But when the subclass will access the members of its superclass is, if the members are not available in its own class, then only it will take its superclass members. If the members are available in its own class, then it will not take the members of its superclass. If you understand this concept, programs are very, very easy. Okay, so using subclass object, okay, first subclass object will give priority to its own class members. If they are not there, then only it will access the superclass members. Okay, you understand this concept. It is very, very important. If you understand this concept, we can easily understand the programs. Okay, next, what is this concept? Okay, subclass will give first priority to its own members. If the members are not available in its own class, then only subclass will take the members of its superclass. Okay, now I will explain the programs with instance variable hiding and method overriding. Both these concepts are very, very important. Okay, and these two concepts are to be explained only in inheritance. Without inheritance, I can't explain method overriding and instance variable hiding. Without inheritance means there is only one class now. With one class, I cannot explain instance variable hiding and method overriding. So here, if you take in inheritance, inheritance means we should take at least 2 classes to explain inheritance. Minimum number of classes must be 2 to explain inheritance concept. That is, first class is superclass and second class is subclass. If you take multi-level inheritance, we can take any number of superclass, subclass. Again, this subclass will become superclass to the next subclass. Like that, in multi-level inheritance, we can take any number of classes. Okay, but minimum number of classes to be required in inheritance is 2. That is, one is superclass and another one is subclass. Okay, now I will explain instance variable hiding and method overriding by taking 2 classes. That is, one superclass and one subclass. Okay, Now understand these examples. So here superclass name is animal and subclass name is dog. Okay, inside the superclass animal, we have two instance variables A and B and two methods. They are eat and sleep. Okay, so these are the two instance variable and these are the two methods which are there in the animal class, which is the superclass. Next, I am taking one more subclass, that is dog. Class dog extends animal, means this is the subclass. So inside the subclass, I am taking two variables, instance variables A and C, and two methods eat and bark. Now with these two classes, what we can understand? If you see the variable A, so A is there in animal class and it is also there in dog class. Means the instance variable A is common to these two classes. So with respect to this instance variable, I can explain the concept of instance variable hiding. Okay. Next, coming to method overriding. Next, if you observe the methods of these two classes, so eat method is available in animals class and eat method is also available in dogs class. Means eat method is common to these two classes. So with respect to this eat method, I can explain the concept of method overriding. Okay. So instance variable concept is explained with this instance variable A and method overriding concept is explained with the method eat. Okay. Now I will write the complete program by taking this structure. Okay. We will see the program. Okay, explain instance variable hiding means we can write the same program and this program is also for method overriding. For both the concepts, this program is enough. Now we will see. Now class animal, no parenthesis, class name and class name must be the first letter of this word must be capital letter. That is the naming convention for class. So here class animal, this is the superclass. So here this is the body of this animal class. So inside superclass animal, what I am taking? I am taking two instance variables and two methods eat and sleep. Okay. Now here see, inside the animal class, I am taking two instance variables with the data type int and these two instance variables are initialized with the values 10 and 20 respectively. Okay. So at the time of declaring the variables, we can initialize the variables in Java, but it is not possible in C++ language. In C++ language, at the time of declaring the variables, we can't initialize. If you initialize the variables at the time of declaring the variables in C++ language, you will get compile time error. But here it is correct. That's why at the time of declaring the instance variables, we can initialize them with values. Okay. So this is the initialization of two instance variables A and B. Next, after that, I am taking two methods. So what is the definition of eat method is void is the return type and it is not taking any parameters. Okay. You know this is the function name. Okay. Function should have return type. That's why I have written void means it is not returning anything to the invocation. Okay. Now void eat. Inside eat method I have written to say it is animal eat method. I am writing this printf statement. Okay, which is printing animal eat method. Next I have taken one more method that is sleep. Inside that I have written animals sleep method. So how do we describe the animal method? So animal class, not method. How do we describe the animal class, that is superclass is? This class consists of two parts, state part and behavior part. So in the state part we have two instance variables and in the behavior part we have two methods. They are eat and sleep. Okay. So the state part consists of only instance variables and the names of the instance variables are A and B. So how do we describe animal means always okay, describe with the state part and behavior part. Okay. Next, this is the superclass animal. Inside the superclass animal, we have two instance variables and two methods. The names of the instance variables are A and B and the names of the methods are eat and sleep. You remember this one. Next, after that, I will take subclass. So class dog extends animal means inside the dog class, I will write its own properties. Okay, now inside dog class, I will declare two more instance variables and I will also initialize these two variables. Okay, what are the values? A is equal to 20 and C is equal to 30. So inside the subclass, I am taking two more variables A and C and two more methods eat and bark. So here, how do we describe dog class is, dog class can use its own members and it can also use the superclass members. Okay. So here dog is the subclass and animal is the superclass. What is the advantage of writing like this is, class dog extends animal means using this extends animal, the entire code of this animal class is inherited to dog class. Means the dog class can use its own members as well as its superclass members. Okay, right? Now how do we describe dog class? Dog class consists of how many instance variables? Tell me. So here dog class, inside the dog class we have taken only two variables A and C. But because of inheritance, because of this extends animal, it can inherit all the members of its superclass. Means these two variables are inherited and these two methods are also inherited. But here how do we describe dog class is, dog class consists of only three variables or three instance variables. They are A, next what is the next variable? B and C. Three variables only, not four. Why? Because dog is having its own variable A. When it is having its own variable, it will not take its superclass variable. That's why how do we describe dog class is, inside the dog class, the state part consists of only three variables. They are A, B and C. A is dogs A and B is animals B and C is dogs C. That's why the state part of dogs class consists of only three variables. They are A, B, C. A is dogs class A, B is animals class B and C is dogs class C. Okay, next after that coming to the methods. So the behavior part of dogs class consists of only three methods. They are eat, bark and what is the other method? Sleep. Okay, so why three methods not four methods means, eat method is there in both dog class and in animal class. So when dog class is having its own method which is eat, in this case it will not take the eat method of its superclass. That's why how do we describe the dog class with behavior part is, the behavior part of dog class consists of three methods. They are eat, next sleep and bark. So which class eat method? So eat method is dogs eat method and sleep method is animals sleep method and bark method is dogs bark method. Okay, now understand. So always subclass will give you priority to its own members. When it is having its own members, then it will not take its superclass members. Understand this statement enough for understanding the subclass. Next after that, so here if you observe, dog class consists of three instance variables. They are A, B, C and three methods. They are eat, sleep and bark method. So by creating the object for dog class, I can access A, B, C and eat, sleep and bark methods. Okay, because the dog class consists of three variables A, B, C and three methods. They are eat, sleep and bark. Now how do I access these three instance variables A, B, C and the methods eat, sleep and bark of dogs class is by creating the object for dog class. So in inheritance always try to create the object for subclass. So I have till now in the same program I have defined one superclass animal and also I have defined one subclass dog, and after that I will take one more class to create the objects for superclass or subclass. That's why I am taking one more class test. Inside that I will write the main method, and inside that I will create objects for both superclass and subclass. Actually superclass object is not required, but anyway we can create. Now here this is the object for superclass and this is the object for subclass. Now here I will, which members are accessed with these two reference variables I will explain. So you know animal class object is only for taking the animal class members. Okay. Now with this reference variable A1, I can access only two variables A and B and two methods sleep and eat method. See, in animal class we have only two variables A, B and only two methods eat and sleep. So by creating the object for animal class, I can access only two variables and two methods. Okay. Now that's why with this reference variable I can access A1.A, A1.B and A1.eat and A1.sleep. So with this what will be the output? This A is animals A, no? Animals A value is C. A and B are 10, 20. Animals eat method, animals sleep method. So the output of these two statements. Here A1 is for animals, no? That's why 10, 20 and this also animal eat method. This is animal sleep method. So with these three statements, we are accessing the members of the animal class using this reference variable after creating the animal class object. So you'll get 10, 20 animal eat method and animal sleep method. Now concentrate on the subclass object. Here we can explain the concept of method overriding and instance variable hiding. So with respect to subclass object only, we can understand what is instance variable hiding and what is method overriding. Okay. Now take the subclass object, that is dog d1 is equal to new dog. Next, this is already explained this concept. When this statement is getting executed, from this it will go to the animal class and it will execute the matching constructor for this one. And one object is assigned for animal class and the instance variables A and B are stored with the values 10 and 20. Like that here also again it will go to the dog class and it will execute the matching constructor. But in animal class and dog class we have not written any constructor. So if you see in animal class we have not written any constructor, in dog class also we have not written any constructor. So here the compiler or this default constructor is executed in animals class and again default constructor is executed in dogs class also. Default constructor is provided by the compiler, that is also called compiler generated constructor. But anyway one constructor must be executed at the time of execution of this statement. So in both these two cases, okay, only compiler generated constructor is executed. You remember, okay? Next after that, please focus on the subclass object. So with this subclass object, I can explain the concepts instance variable hiding and method overriding. Both these are very, very important in inheritance. After that, I will explain why method overriding comes under runtime polymorphism. Okay. Now first try to understand this statement. This is the object creation for subclass, that is dogs class. Now object is created for dog class. Inside that object, three variables are stored. They are A, B, C, and the address of this dog class object is assigned to this D1. So with this D1, we can access the members of the dog class. So here I will write system.out.println. So with the dogs class object, I can access three variables name A, B, and C also. Here she has not written B. Please include B also. Because dog class contains three instance variables, they are A, B, and C. That's why D1.A plus D1.B plus D1.C. Now we will see the values of A, B, C. Okay. Now after that, we can access three methods of dogs class now. Three methods are there in the dog class, that is eat, sleep, and bark. So here add sleep also. Now that's why here D1.eat, next D1.bark, and then D1.sleep. Okay, here she has not written d1 dot sleep. Please add d1 dot sleep here and here add d1 dot b. Now we will see the output. D1 dot a, d1 dot b, d1 dot c. What will be the output? Here if you observe this variable a, it is there in both subclass and superclass. A is there in both subclass and superclass. Now with respect to this variable a, we can understand the concept of instance variable hiding. So how do we understand? When subclass is having its own member, that is a, then it will take its own member only. It will not take its superclass member. Okay, first subclass will give priority to its own class members because a is available in its own class now. When it is available in its own class, then why it will take from its superclass? Okay, that's why it will not take from its superclass. That's why it will take its own class a. That's why if you see the output, that is d1 dot a. So d1 dot a answer is 20, not 10. 10 is the superclass a, no? See, superclass a is having the value 10 for the variable a. Subclass a is having the value 20 for this variable a. But when you access this a with the subclass object, first subclass will give priority to its own class only because a is available in its own class. That's why it will take its own class a. It will not take its superclass a. That's why when you print this a value with the dark class object, 20 is printed as output. This concept is nothing but instance variable hiding. Means the subclass variable. Okay, the subclass variable will hide the superclass variable. Okay, this is the concept of instance variable hiding. So subclass variable, what is instance variable hiding? If both the superclass, okay, if both the superclass and subclass are having the same instance variable, means with the same name, then subclass variable will hide the superclass variable. Means when you access the variable a with the subclass object, the value 20 is displayed. Means it is giving priority to its own class member. If it is not there, means if a is not available to its own class, then only it will take its superclass a. But here a is there in its own class now. That's why it will execute it will take its own class a. That's why here you can understand instance variable hiding. So d1 dot a means you will get the output as 20. You will not get 10. This is called instance variable hiding. Next after that, when you print d1 dot b, d1 dot b means first it will go to the dark class and it will check whether b is available in its own class. But here b is not available in its own class now. When that variable is not available in its own class, then only it will inherit from its superclass. That's why in b is equal to 20 is inherited to dark class. Okay, that's why it will take the animals b, because dark class b or inside the class dog, it is not having the variable b. So when you print d1 dot b here, the output is, what is the b value? 20. So 20, this is d1 dot a. Next d1 dot b is 20 and d1 dot c. d1 dot c means dog c. That's why the answer is, so 20, 20, 30 when you print the three variables. Next, similarly, when you print the three methods, here you can understand the concept of method overriding. With respect to d1 dot a, we can understand the concept of instance variable hiding, and with d1 dot a, we can understand the concept of method overriding. Now I will explain this statement. So d1 dot a, this d1 is the object of the reference variable for subclass object. Next, what is overriding? d1 dot a means it will go to the dark class first, because d1 is the reference variable for dark class. It will check, first it will check whether dark class contains each method or not. If dark class contains each method, Then when you invoke d1 dot eat, so dog class eat method will be executed, not animals class eat method, because dog class will give priority first to its own members. If they are not available in its own class, then only it will inherit from its superclass. So when you write d1 dot a, when you write d1 dot eat, or when you execute this statement, because this is the reference variable for dog class, first JVM will go to the dog class and it will check whether eat method is available in dog class or not. So eat method is available in dog class. That's why it will execute dogs. It will execute dogs. This is right eat. So it will execute that dogs eat method and it will print the statement that is dogs eat method. Okay, dogs eat method. So this concept is nothing but method overriding. What is method overriding? When both superclass and subclass are having the same method with the same signature. Okay, with the same method with the same signature means prototype, or we can say same method with the same prototype, then dog class method or subclass method will override the superclass method. Okay, what is method overriding? If both superclass and subclass are having the same method with the same prototype, then subclass method will override the superclass method. So in this case, when you execute d1 dot eat, so dogs class method will be executed. So dogs class eat method will be executed. So what will be the output when you execute d1 dot eat? See, dogs eat method, not animals eat method, because eat method is there in both superclass and subclass, no. But when you execute this statement, that is d1 dot eat, dogs class eat method will be executed. So this concept is nothing but method overriding. Means subclass method will override the superclass method. That's why subclass eat method will be executed. That's why the output for this statement will be dogs eat method. So here you can understand method overriding. Method overriding is nothing but if both subclass and superclass are having the same method with the same prototype, then subclass method will override the superclass method. That's why when you access the subclass method with the subclass reference variable, you will get the output as dogs eat method. Okay. Now similarly, d1 dot sleep method here. Write d1 dot sleep method. First it will check in dogs class whether sleep method is available or not. But sleep method is not available in dogs class. That's why it will take its superclass method. When that method is not available in its own class, then only it will take that method from its superclass. That's why in case of the sleep method, animals sleep method will be executed. In case of bark method, dogs bark method will be executed. In case of eat method, here both superclass and subclass are having the same method eat. In this case, only subclass eat method will be executed because subclass method will override the superclass method. That's why the output will be dogs eat method and animals sleep method and dogs bark method. Dogs bark method. Now with this we have completed two concepts. They are instance variable hiding and method overriding. Now the question is, okay, why this method overriding comes under runtime polymorphism? Okay, so runtime polymorphism means if the polymorphism occurs during the runtime. Now, so here, so if during the runtime, it will consider only right hand side part. So what is the right hand side part here? It will not check the left hand side. When we discuss this upcasting, in that we can understand this runtime polymorphism more clearly. But now understand, during the runtime, the JVM will execute only the right hand side class. Right hand side the class means the JVM will give priority first dogs class only. Okay, it will execute dogs class, means priority will be given to dogs class. That's why dogs class methods are executed. So here dogs class method is eat method. eat method is there in the dogs class, no? That's why if you observe the output, it is dogs eat method. Means during the runtime, the JVM is considering only dogs class methods. Okay, that's why eat method is there in dogs class. That's why it will execute dogs class eat method. That's why this overriding concept comes under runtime polymorphism. Means during the runtime, JVM will consider only dogs class methods. Okay, that is, what are the dogs class methods here? Dogs class eat method, and this is also inherited, no, because it is not there in this class, no. That's why dogs class methods are here: eat method and sleep method and bark method. So these methods are executed by the JVM, okay, by using this dog. Means, okay, during the runtime, it is considering, JVM is considering only this right hand side class, and the methods of this right hand side class are executed. That's why method overriding comes under runtime polymorphism. Okay. So here these are the statements. Animals eat method is overridden by dogs eat method, or dogs eat method is overriding by animals eat method. Okay. So dogs eat method is called overriding method, and animals eat method is called overridden method. Okay. So you know, no, method overloading and constructor overloading come under compile time polymorphism, and method overriding come under runtime polymorphism. You can understand the runtime polymorphism more clearly when we discuss upcasting and downcasting. Okay. Then in the concept again I will explain runtime polymorphism. Now here, what is the drawback of this method overriding or instance variable hiding? So in case of method overriding and instance variable hiding, with subclass object, we can't access the animals class instance variable A and animals class instance or the animals class method eat. Okay, so with the subclass object, we can't access animals class A and animals class eat method. But how do we access these two with subclass object? That is the question now. So here, by creating the object for subclass, that is dog class, dog d1 is equal to new dog. So with this reference variable, I can access, okay, dogs class A and dogs class eat method. But with this reference variable, I can't access animals class A and animals class eat method. But here the point is, how do we access animals class A and animals class eat method with this reference variable? So with the same reference variable, how do we access the animals class A and the animals class eat method? Okay. The answer for that question is, we use SOPR. Okay. So that is SOPR. This is the syntax is SOPR dot member. This member can be either variable or method. So by using this SOPR dot member, we can access the SOPR class, that is animals class A and the animals class eat method. So how do I access those two with SOPR? I will explain with program. So in case of instance variable hiding and method overriding, to access the SOPR class methods or SOPR class instance variables inside the subclass, then we have to use SOPR dot member. This member can be variable or method. Now we will write one program. Or to prevent method overriding and instance variable hiding, we use SOPR dot member. This is also important concept. Only small modification I will do for the same previous program. Okay, same, everything is same. I will explain that modification only. So class animal same, two instance variables, eat method and sleep method same. Next, class dog extends animal same. Next, variable same, and eat and bark methods are also same. Next, here I will add one more method inside the dog class to access the SOPR class A and SOPR class eat method, or to access the animal class A and animal class eat method. So how do I access is only by writing this method inside the subclass. This is the only extra part I am adding to subclass dog to access the superclass A and superclass each method. What is this method? Void m1 system.out.println super.a. See the syntax. Super.member means super means it will access the superclass variable A. Super means superclass. What is the superclass for dog class? So dog class is the subclass and the superclass for dog class is animal. So by writing super.member, we can access the animal class members because animal class is the superclass for dog class. Now here I am adding one method to dog class, that is void m1. Inside that system.out.println I will write super.a. Super.a means I am accessing the animals A. Okay, because inside the dog I am using super.a. For dog class, the superclass is animal class. That's why it will execute animal class A. Similarly, so system.out.println super.eat method. Super.member, that member can be either variable or method. So when you write super.a, it will execute, it will print the superclass variable A value, and when you write super.eat method, it will execute the animal class eat method. Okay. Now this method we have added to dog class. After that, how do I execute this method? By using dog class object only, no? Because m1 method is available in dog class. By creating object for dog class, and I can access this method. Okay. See, how do we access the members of any class in Java is by creating the object for that class. Using the object of that class only, all the members of that class are accessed. This is the thumb rule, remember. First create class, then create object for that class to access the members of that class. Now I will explain this part. That is, how do I access m1 method which is there in dog class. Means how do I access m1? By creating object for dogs class. Okay. Now I will show you that part. Take one more class and write main method and create this part is same as the previous program. I have created one animal class object, and with the reference variable I can access two variables A and B, two methods eat and sleep. This is same as previous program. Now coming to this one, this is subclass object. So dog d1 is equal to new dog. So with here she has written correctly. See, all the three variables we can access using this instance variable, that is for dog class. So with d1 inside dog class we have three instance variables. No, they are A, B and C. And that's why d1.a, d1.b, d1.c. You know what is the meaning of d1.a? Here we know instance variable hiding. That's why the value for A is 10 because dogs A is dogs A is executed and the value is 20, not animals A. Okay, this instance variable hiding. Next, if you see the output for this is 20 and this is also 20, this is 30. This is animals B and this is dogs C, this is also dogs A. Okay, this A is available in both superclass and subclass. Next, d1.a, d1.eat. You know, this is method overriding and dogs eat method is executed. And sleep means animals sleep method. Bark means dogs bark method. Up to this same as previous program. Same up to this same. So here I can explain the concept of instance variable hiding. Here I can explain the concept of method overriding. So up to this same. Now what is the new point here is, how do I access the superclass A and superclass E method with the subclass object. So how do I access? So that for that I am adding this statement, that is d1.m1. So d1.m1 means it will go to the dogs class m1 method. This is the dogs class m1 method and this method is executed. So inside void m1 system.out.println super.a. What is super.a means animals A. What is animals A value? 10. So 10 is printed this statement. And super.eat. Super.eat means eat method is there in animals class. No, That's why animal seat method is executed. Now the output for these two statements is 10, that is animals A, and this is animal seat method. Okay, we will see the output. Here she has not written the output. If you see the output for this one is 10, that is animals A, and animal seat method. But here if you observe, this is dog seat method, because each method is there in both superclass and subclass. But here we are applying the concept of method overriding. That's why subclass method will override the superclass method. That's why here we will get the output for this statement is dogs eat method. But when you execute the M1 method of dogs class, you will get the animals variable A and the animals method eat. That's why the output for this statement is, okay, what is the output for this statement? Animals A is 10. That's why 10. And next is animals eat method. Because with this statement we are executing the M1 method of dogs class. That's why the output for that statement is 10 and the animals eat method. That's it. So here with this I have completed. So super is a keyword. Okay, already explained keywords now. In those keywords we have one keyword, that is super. So what is the purpose of super keyword is already explained. Here two concepts. Super dot member. Actually we have to write super dot member. So the super dot member can be super dot variable or super dot method. Here write method. So I have completed this concept, that is how do we use super dot member. Super dot member is nothing but super dot, this is correct. Super dot member is nothing but super dot variable or super dot method. So I have explained super dot variable with this statement and super dot method with this statement. Only in case of instance variable hiding and method overriding we use these two statements. Otherwise these two are not useful. Okay, so explain about super keyword means we can write the previous program, that is for explaining super dot variable and super dot method. After that, in already explained in the last class, that is constructor chaining. Means inside each constructor the first statement must be either super or this super of no org. This is the default statement which is available for each constructor. That too, this must be the first statement inside each constructor. This also I have explained with compiler. This is compiler generated now. Inside each constructor, the first statement can be either super of no org. So, but here if you won't write anything inside the constructor, this is provided by the compiler. And the other way is the programmer can also use this super explicitly. We can explicitly write this super. Okay, so we can understand this super concept in constructor chaining. So with this super dot variable completed and super dot method completed and super of no org completed. So next class we will see super of parameters. This super can be used with parameters also. Okay, next class we will see again super of no org and super of parameters. So explain super keyword, very very important for exam point of view. Super means it refers to the super class. So with this method overriding completed, instance variable hiding completed, and the super dot member completed. Okay. Next class we will see super with parameters.